Dr. Tim Kimmel is the father of 4, grandfather of 3, as we heard yesterday, with his beautiful wife, Darcy, of 38 years. He's the founder and executive director of Family Matters. He's written so many helpful books. I've just got some of them here on parenting. Pastor Jim Cymbala of the Brooklyn Tabernacle, who was here recently, said of this book, Dr. Kimmel's book cuts to the core of what parents need to understand in order to raise kids for true greatness. From a bend in the road in Scottsdale, Arizona, we welcome again Dr. Tim Kimmel.
Thanks, Moira. Glad to be here with you.
3 days isn't enough, but we're going to make the best of it. Yeah. I showed this Christianity Today, which you have read, The Myth of the Perfect Parent. Now, the picture inside kind of, you get the feeling here, and the subtitle here is Prevailing Parental Panic. Now, I know that Dr. Kimmel is going to try and diffuse this in us, but may I just do a little flashcard here with some recent cover concerns. Okay, you can see what the magazines are. The new first grade. Are kids getting pushed too fast, too soon? Are kids too wired for their own good? We have just learned last week 7 hours in front of the internet and TV. Here it is right here. 7 hours a day. McLean's, our kids are growing up with porn. Shouldn't we do something? Suddenly, teen pregnancy is cool. And let's go right to the college level. More good news. With more than half of the Canadian university students cheating, all degrees are tainted. I mean, don't we have ground to panic a little as parents? No?
No. Well, and if you're going to let the media and the culture define what your job is, well, yeah, I'd be scared to death. I'd be scared out of my mind. But I go by this. And everything there is the result of fear-based parenting. And I see a lot of all the things within the evangelical movement. As I work with parents, the thing that has been most surprising to me is how intimidated standard evangelical parents are. I mean, just the fear-based parenting is pervasive among the Christian movement. Here's why it takes me by surprise. If we're followers of Jesus Christ, we should be the last people afraid of just about anything. The only thing we're supposed to be afraid of are the things God meant for us to be afraid of. I'm afraid to cross one of your freeways at rush hour on foot. It's crazy. I get hurt. But the standard fare of raising kids, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. You know what's happening here is parents get up every morning and they swallow this cultural poison pill called comparison. And once you're starting to weigh yourself up next to what the media says you're supposed to be doing, or your friends or your neighbors or whatever, you're going to become this off-the-chart uber parent that is obsessed with perfection. You'll never hit it, and you'll raise a bunch of kids with chips on their shoulders. It's very hard to transfer a heart for Jesus Christ to a kid when you're running around scared. And on top of that, Moira, when we are letting fear lead the way with us, we are a walking contradiction to what we say we believe. We believe our God is bigger than everything, and He's got everything under control. But we go around panicking, and then it makes us make a series of dumb choices.
Fear isn't part of the fruit of the Spirit, for
No,
sure.
it's not. It's not.
Now, this article says that, I'm quoting here, what parents are concerned about is that their children turn out. And that they grow up to be church-going, God-honoring adults. Now, I'm going to ask you for your definition of true greatness, but just this goal alone gives reason for panic and concern, because we know, I'm not even going to talk about the numbers of kids turning away from their parents' values, from church.
Yeah, and right the way that was worded there,
yeah.
I would say that parent, you've put your child on a spiritual performance basis. God honoring, so it's say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, then they would say they read their Bible, they memorize Scripture, and they share their faith, and it go right down the list of to-dos, and church attending. See, that's all works salvation, and that's why grace-based parenting is so vital to us getting our hearts around our role as parents, because see, what the typical Christian parent does is they get grace when it comes to saving grace.
They come into the kingdom. They find Christ.
I once was lost, now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. They get that, but then they go right back on a performance basis with God. And somehow they've got to, if they do certain things, he's going to love them more. If they don't do these things, he's going to love them less. That's not the message of this Bible. God is not dealing with us based on our behavior, because if he were, he wouldn't deal with us, he'd write us off. He is dealing with us according to his love. And then on top of that, then once they've put themselves on a performance base, they put their kids on a spiritual performance basis. And so we measure our success as parents by how soon did our kids accept Jesus? Did they carry their Bible to church? Are they attentive? And do they love quiet time around the house? And do they journal and all that other stuff? There's nothing wrong with, by the way, there's nothing wrong with any of the things I just said. I'm not dissing them. I'm saying that when that's the way you're measuring how you're doing as a parent or how your kid's doing, you've just basically set everybody up for failure, because that's not how God deals with us.
So what is true greatness? Because you want us to redefine success.
Yeah, let me tell you a quick story. My wife and I were on a flight. We were flying from Phoenix to Tampa through Dallas-Fort Worth. We switched planes in Dallas, and we were riding on those nice comfortable seats in the front of the plane, because I fly a lot, so I get up there a lot. And about halfway through the flight, a man stood up, turned around, kind of cased the place, picked out the prettiest girl to hit on. And I couldn't disagree with him. I thought he had great taste. And he came down next to Darcy, and he whispered in her ear, "Hey, beautiful lady, do you know who I am?" And and I mean, his face was right there, bloodshot eyes, bourbon on his breath.
Was your fist right about here?
No, I don't worry about it. He's getting nowhere with her. And she just turned around and said, sorry, I don't recognize you. She said, "Well, I'm the great Bobby Hayes." And then she turned to me and said, "Oh, he was a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys back when we were in grad school. We saw him play." Well, he was glad to be recognized. He went on to give his resume, and he told about how he'd broken the NCAA record in the 100. He was drafted by our Olympic team in the 1964 Olympics in Tokyo for the U.S. And then he reached in his pocket and he took out the medal from the 1964 Olympics. He says, "I'm Bobby the Bullet Hayes. I'm the fastest man in the world." And we did, the polite thing. Boy, that's a nice medal. Glad to meet you. But we thought, here's exactly what happens when you drink the Kool-Aid of this culture, because this culture is about success. It's all about measuring success and being successful. And how do we measure success? These four things: wealth, beauty, power, and fame. And here's what gets me, Maura. I see Christian parents buying into the exact same stuff.
Pushing their kids.
Pushing their kids, academic excellence, and pushing. And by the way, the academic excellence, it's all about money. Because I want my kids to get a good job. And they got to have a great education, get to make a good job, then they make a lot of money. I mean, you get the Christmas cards, and when I get the Christmas cards and I take out the annual report that comes inside there, and you start reading. And I put those four filters right in front. Wealth, beauty, power, fame. I start to read. My son's the captain of the hockey team. My daughter's got a full ride to the university. My son's engaged to a girl looks like Angelina. My daughter, she's got her first job straight out of college, 6 figures. The first one doesn't start with a 1. That kind of stuff. It's all about the thing. But see, here, God has called us something better. I mean, if you're aiming your kids at success, you're aiming low. And you don't even need God's help to get there. Here's how I define true greatness. It's a passionate love for Jesus Christ that shows itself in an unquenchable love and concern for others. That's my job as a parent. I'm supposed to connect to my children's heart in such a way that through the way I live my life and the way I raise them, I instill in them a passionate love for Jesus that shows itself that they are others-oriented. And when we do that, now we've raised a great kid. And by the way, those kids will be just fine in the marketplace. They'll be very successful.
And you've enlarged the worldview. It's not just your house and those members and how they're doing. I didn't share this before the program, but I'm quoting a counselor, a psychiatrist, who said, the fastest growing age group experiencing depression, 4-year-olds. 4. We've made them competitors and performers. It's creating despair. They cease to want to be who they are. She used the word suicidal.
Well,